Welcome to EDC1200, Assignment 2, Multimedia Presentation, presented by Kirby. Within this presentation, I will be discussing the difference between the binary opposition of white and black, as discussed in Week 1's lecture, An Introduction to Identity, presented by John Austin, specifically the white and Aboriginal people within Australia, with reference to the ongoing controversy surrounding the National Australian and Aboriginal flags. Cathy Freeman is an Australian icon, an Olympic star and a hero to many throughout Australia. She was the first Aboriginal female to win a gold medal in an international sporting event. She was also a descendant of the Stolen generation. From 1909 to 1969, Aboriginal children were forcibly taken from their families by the Australian government. The whiter of these children were placed with white families in the hopes to assimilate them into a white person's lifestyle. The darker of these children were forced into orphanages, and the government did this as the Aboriginal community was outside of their norms. They based their race on their phenotypical attributes. Because the Aboriginal people did not look or act like them, they believed them to be less or lower class. Like so many Aboriginal children of that era, Cathy will never know who her great-grandparents were. This, along with many other elements of what the Aboriginal people have had to endure, is an ongoing struggle that causes many protests within the Australian community. Cathy came to fame in 1994's Commonwealth Games, held in Victoria, British Columbia, Canada, when she won the 400-metre dash. After winning the event, Cathy took her victory lap with not only the Australian flag, but also the Aboriginal flag. Team officials came down hard on her. She was criticised by Team Chief Arthur Tunstall for the political statement he believed that she made by waving and celebrating under the Aboriginal flag, as this was not her nation's banner, and she was barred from displaying the flag again. Cathy was unapologetic, and when she won the 200-metre final at that same meet, she defiantly took her second victory lap, carrying both flags again. This action was supported by most of the Australian public. White Australia and the Aboriginal people united. This action was seen as a step towards the hopeful and eventual reconciliation between the Aboriginal and white Australian communities. Freedom's display of pride, although first condemned, is now celebrated. It is an important part of our Australian history and gives reference to the ongoing struggle and prejudice that faced the Aboriginal community. Cathy became the face of justice and pride for all Australians. 6 years later, at the 2000 Sydney Australian Olympic Games, when Cathy won the 400-metre final in front of her home crowd, she celebrated with the entire nation and with both flags proudly and respectfully intertwined. This historic event seems to have all been in vain. Even as recently as 2012, there are still ongoing protests and debates on Aboriginal rights. On January 27, 2012, over 200 people, including some Aboriginal elders, stormed the outside of Parliament House in Canberra, protesting for greater land rights for the Aboriginal people. Aboriginals have a strong connection to the land. It is part of their identity. They have always argued who has the rights over the land and the authority to give it their name, giving reference to the topic of space and place that Andrew talks about in the National Identity Lecture. During the protest, a 15-year-old Aboriginal girl proudly helped set fire to the Australian flag, stating, quote, "This is the flag of the enemy. That's right. They hunted us blacks. They deemed the right to kill and murder my family, and I'm not going to take it no more." As the flag burnt in front of them, the crowd broke into a chant of "Always was, always will be Aboriginal land." I base my learning unit and experiences within the frames of early years education, working with kindergarten children aged 3 to 5 years old. I hope to instill in them a sense of acceptance, respect and equality within the notion of difference, and also a greater understanding of the Aboriginal culture. With young children, it is my personal philosophy that they learn best through an open, play-based environment, with time to explore and investigate new concepts and ideas. I would introduce a range of stimulus through the classroom setting in the hopes to spark an interest and promote questions. This could include books, artwork, photos, artifacts, music, and creative materials. To extend on those questions, I will provide a range of activities and experiences to encourage children within their inquiry. First, addressing the area of Aboriginal culture. I would invite the children to participate in a range of meaningful activities, such as sharing traditional Dreamtime stories about our local land created by the Aboriginal people and told the way they do, through pictures and/or dance. Sharing stories that link other ways of living and show the difference between their lifestyle and values compared to ours. A great story illustrating this is You and Me, Marawi, written by Kerry Hashi. Provide traditional painting and drawing materials such as ochre rock, charcoal, and paper bark for the children to create with, while explaining the significance of Aboriginal art. Display and allow children to explore and use Aboriginal musical instruments and hunting tools such as tapping sticks, didgeridoos, boomerangs, and digging sticks. Venture out into the community and environment with excursions to local Aboriginal sites. This can then lead into establishing the concept of identity and self-awareness through discussion of our own uniqueness. This can be explored through photos, or creating self or family portraits, and then comparing these pictures with our peers. Presenting and introducing the children to the idea of a larger community and how we are all a part of it. Extend on the concept of difference through matching games, sorting resources and stories, leading to discussions on the notion of same and different, and how through different elements we are all both. What makes us different makes us special and makes us individuals, but also how being the same and having things in common can bring us together.